We were sailing near the Azores archipelago when we spotted a ship emerging from a dense fog. At first, we tried to make contact, but received no reply. As we got closer, we realized there was no one aboard, so we moved in to board her. The fog felt almost alive as I climbed aboard the Mary Celeste. We entered, but there were no signs of struggle or mutiny. The ship was intact. The deck planks creaked under my boots as I searched for any sign of life, but found none. Low bodies, no letters left behind, only silence and a hot, crawling shiver of desolation. We were unsettled by this, and after a thorough search, I found in the captain's cabin what appeared to be a small diary belonging to a crew member. Its cover was worn, as if it held years of hard-earned experience within. I flipped through the first pages, notes from the voyage. I tucked it into my pocket and kept searching for more clues about what had happened. Nothing else was found. We noticed there were no lifeboats, and part of the cargo was missing. So we took the Mary Celeste to Gibraltar and handed her over to the authorities. Everything was delivered and reported exactly as we had found it. There was much confusion. It was hard for anyone to believe my story. Though they suspected me, my account was accepted. When I got home and took off my coat, I noticed the diary again and remembered I had kept it. I placed it on the bedside table, but later, sitting in my chair, I reached for it. On the first page, it read, "Accounts of Andrew Gilling, second mate, a voyage with no return." The first entries were just regular notes and details of the journey, written in impeccable handwriting. For several days it stayed that way, but after November 25th, 1772, things began to change. Even the letters themselves seemed to want to escape the pages.
Captain Benjamin S. Briggs spotted an unusual storm on the horizon and ordered everyone to prepare. Flashes lit the distance, and heavy rain began to fall. All hands were on deck. A thick mist swallowed everything. The ship began to groan. We could see the lightning, but no thunder followed. A strange sound started to echo, something none of us had ever heard. The flashes grew stronger, and explosions rang out in all directions. The captain looked at the compass. It no longer pointed anywhere, spinning wildly instead. When the fog finally cleared, we found ourselves in the middle of a massive naval battle. Ships we had never seen before, creatures straight out of a fantasy tale. We were all struck dumb. It was an immense battle, with weapons beyond imagination. That's when I realized this was not our world. The waves smashed against the Mary Celeste's hull, but they weren't just made of water. Within them glimmered lights, as if the sea itself was alive. In the distance, colossal ships with black sails and masts adorned with bones fired blazing projectiles at golden vessels that shone like the sun. From the depths rose monstrous beings, sea serpents with eyes the size of portholes, and leviathans clad in metallic armor, roaring like 1,000 storms. Captain Briggs barked orders, but no one knew where to run. Albert Richardson, the first mate, pointed to starboard. "Sir, something's coming right at us." Out of the mist emerged something I will never forget. A ship of living wood, its branches growing as it advanced. On its deck, warriors clad in coral armor wielded spears of blue crystal. They did not speak, they sang, a deep chant that made the air tremble.
Before we could react, a luminous shot streaked through the sky and struck the water beside us. The explosion raised a towering wall of water that nearly capsized us. Men fell, ropes snapped. I clung to the helm, but it spun by itself as though an unseen force guided the Mary Celeste. "Hold fast!" roared Briggs, but his voice was swallowed by another sound, a roar. From the ocean's depths, a colossal shark-like beast emerged, each of its eyes reflecting alien constellations. It attacked indiscriminately, smashing into ships on both sides. We were dragged into the heart of the battle, weaving between flaming wrecks, the bodies of creatures and ships torn in half. On a distant rock, I saw a tall figure, silver-skinned, with eyes like beacons, raising a staff to command the tides like a conductor. When its gaze met mine, I felt as though it had looked straight into my soul. By some miracle, we escaped, and the storm carried us to an island. Black sand, trees that moved without wind. Upon landing, we were attacked by warriors in wooden masks, their spears tipped with obsidian blades. We fought back as best we could. Isaac Green fell beside me, wounded, but we managed to repel the first wave. Over the following days, we wandered through other islands, each stranger than the last. One frozen solid despite a scorching sun, where feathered-winged wolves hunted us through crystal ravines. Another encircled by red reefs that sang at dusk, hypnotizing those who listened. We lost 2 men that way. And one dominated by colossal stone statues that moved only when no one was watching. Each battle thinned our numbers. Fear grew. Captain Briggs spoke of a pattern in the stars, one that might lead us out, though Gottlieb swore it was a trap. Then, on a moonless night, we found a portal. In the middle of the sea, a spinning ring of light rose from the water, within which we saw what looked like our world. Gibraltar, familiar shores. But it wasn't so simple. Creatures appeared on the horizon, bronze-skinned humanoids with shark-like helms. The fight was inevitable. Cannons thundered, sabers clashed, voices screamed. Briggs fell, struck by a spear. Even after losing his family in this attack, he fought on bravely until his mortal wound took him. He smiled at me through bloodied teeth and pushed me toward the helm. "It's yours now. Take the ship." We were surrounded. The creatures moved faster than we could counter. Curved blades and black claws slashed through the air. One by one, my crewmates fell. Blood and seawater soaked the deck. I was forced to my knees before one of them, a warrior with molten fire in his eyes. He touched my arm with the tip of his spear, and an unbearable pain seared my skin. I looked down and saw the symbol, a mark pulsing as if alive. We were no longer free. We were prisoners forever. Before they could take us, a light split the horizon. A massive human ship appeared, bristling with weapons. Men in bronze armor stormed aboard, unleashing a storm of gunpowder and steel. They wielded strange weapons we had never seen. In a whirlwind of chaos, they cut us free. We were rushed to a nearby island. I told them I would continue aboard the Mary Celeste, though she was badly damaged. Then one of them used a strange technology, almost like magic, to repair the ship as if brand new. There, their leader, an old warrior with a scarred face, looked at our wounds and shook his head. "You cannot return. If you try, the portal will destroy you. Now you belong to this world," he said in a deep voice. "These marks, they are the seal of the gatekeepers. Whoever bears them will never cross into another world. This mark exists because this world knows when someone does not belong, and it casts them back to where they came from." There was no time to grieve. The trees began to shake. The creatures had followed us. The final battle began. We fought alongside our rescuers. Swords shattered, spears flew, and the ground ran red. But one by one they fell. Only I, Gottlieb, and Edward remained. It was then we saw the portal appear again near the island. We knew we couldn't escape, but the Mary Celeste could. So we decided to send her back, carrying a small diary that told our story. Edward looked at me, his face bloodied and drenched in sweat. "If we can't go, at least let the world know." We ran to the ship, set her sails, and steered her toward the portal. Some of the humans boarded to help. They used part of the ship's alcohol cargo to create a massive wall of fire, buying us precious minutes. Before she departed, I hid the diary between the captain's cabin planks. It was our only hope of telling the truth. When the hull touched the portal's light, the Mary Celeste vanished. We stood on the shore, watching our last chance of returning disappear beyond the horizon.